Yo guys, what is going on? Dreadfulnods here. I hope you're well. Welcome to this little video where I'm going to show you my controller settings within Warzone 2.0 so that you can hit shots like this whilst avoiding tricky situations like these. If you're a controller player like myself, there are so many settings available to you now that I think you should take full advantage of to give you the edge over your opponents. In today's video, I'm going to run through my controller and advanced settings, but before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know what I use. I currently use the Xbox Elite Series 2. However, the control settings that I'm going to go through today will work for PlayStation controller also. Now, these settings aren't going to be for everyone as it comes down to your personal preference and playing style. So let's get started straight away into the controller input device setting, obviously set straight away to controller. Now my edit button layout is slightly different. I use default on everything. On here I have a custom button layout. So I do play with two back paddles, so they work as my jump or A button, and they also work as my Y for switch weapon, which gives me a slight edge, meaning I don't have to take my thumb off the right stick as much. I also use my right analog stick for my change stance, slide and dive, which we'll go into a bit more detail later. Moving down the list, everything else on this custom button layout is actually default except for two. So jump stand mantle is just my standard A button. Change stance slide, as mentioned, is my RS button, which also becomes my dive button. Interact reload is X. Next weapon is Y, but in my case it's on the back paddle as well. Fire weapon is standard RT. Aim down sight is standard LT. Lethal equipment and tactical equipment are both standard or default RB and LB. And then sprint tactical sprint focus is on the left stick. Melee becomes my B button. And then onto the D-pads we have mark location ping wheel is up, drop backpack is down. Again, I'll go into something different on this momentarily. Fire mode and weapon inspect is left on D-pad and kill streak is right on D-pad. Then we come back into the rest of the inputs. We have bumper ping off, stick layout preset default, and controller vibration off. One of the last things you need is that controller vibrating in your hand whilst in a gunfight, giving you that off-putting feeling. Now we move on to aiming. This is where it comes into personal preference. The standard settings for the horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity are both set at 6.6 when loading game. However, I run mine, as you can see, they're currently on 10.10 with my ADS sensitivity multiplier at 85. What I would recommend to find out what would suit you best is to trial these out. Start at the default 6.6 and then work your way up to what you feel comfortable with. Now, bearing in mind, the higher you go with these sensitivities, the higher the risk is. Yes, you have slightly better movement, or it feels a lot better moving left and right, looking up and down. However, the controlling of the shooting and the movement does become slightly difficult. When set at preset 6.6 or default 6.6, it's a lot easier to control your movement and shooting. Next we're into the gameplay section where I have slightly changed some of these settings here. Aim down sight behavior I put to hold. Change zoom shared input I run on sprint tactical sprint focus. Automatic sprint set to automatical tac sprint. Equipment behavior I have as hold rather than toggle. Weapon mount activation is ADS melee, which I believe is just your standard preset. Interact reload behavior I always have as prioritize interact. Reason for prioritize interact is that if you're running around and you just want to loot a box and carry on moving, you just have to hit the X button or your square button once. Armor plate behavior I set to apply all. Again, having this set to apply all is again totally preference. For me, I just like to be able to run, plate, move and regain position, whereas some people might just want to have it set to apply one at a time and get back in the gunfight straight away. Again, this one, guys, totally comes down to your preference. Now we move into the advanced settings. Here it is, aim assist. On controller, this is the biggest advantage you will have over your opponents. Target aim assist, turn this on. If you don't think that aim assist is a thing on controllers, turn this off, get into a gunfight. I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 shots you will miss. Aim assist type I now set to default. These other ones do not work. Default is the one to go for. Left stick rotation. Left stick rotation is what gives you that extra lock on to an opponent or a target, a moving target. If you don't know what left stick rotation is, go into the pre-lobby or set a private match with a friend or something, ask them to run across your screen, set it to default, and then move your left analog stick in a directional rotation, and that will show you how much that locks on. If you use these other ones, they don't actually do anything anymore. They changed this around. When the game first came out, it was on Black Ops, which gave you the best aim assist type. For some reason now, it's all gone back to default. ADS aim assist, have this on. If you have this on, it's again only available in single player, but when aiming down sight, you will quickly move towards your enemy target. This is important, have this on. Third person ADS correction type, we leave on assist. Now they have introduced gyro into this. They've had this in since the Warzone 2 and Modern Warfare 2 was released. I do not use any of it. I just leave that as it is. Now we're going to move on to the movement behaviors, which I mentioned earlier about some of the things on my controller. Auto move forward I have as off. I don't want my character just literally as soon as you touch that stick it will start moving. I'm not up for that. I'd rather be in control of that slightly better. Tactical sprint behavior I use as double tap. Ground mantle I have off. If you have this on, you will just mantle on a nearby obstacle while you are grounded. So the best thing to do is to have this off, because then that way you have to jump first before you mantle an object. Automatic airborne mantle I use as partial. If you look onto the right hand side, it gives you a real good indication as to what each one does. Automatic ground mantle I have off. That comes into the sort of ground mantle section up above there as well. Vert, slide and dive behavior. This is one I was talking about earlier, which I have on my right stick. I prioritize dive over slide so that you can get out of fights a lot quicker. So when you have it as default, one press for slide and it is a hold for dive. I change these around, so I go to inverted so that I can click my right stick to dive, and then if I want to slide, it's a long hold. The slide is no good in this game personally. I prefer the diving because you can dive and it gets you back into your tactical sprint again quicker. If you want this on, I advise having this on inverted. Plunging underwater, I currently have on as movement, whereas you can have plunge freely. There is a real good video going around at the moment that shows you the ability that if you change to plunge freely, that as you try to exit the water, you don't actually have to grab the side of a ledge to pull yourself out. You can just jump straight out of the water. It is a lot better if you have it on plunge freely. Again, it's down to your preference. I would recommend changing this one over or giving this one a go and seeing what suits yourselves best. Parachute auto deploy, we all know now, again, this is preference. I prefer having mine off so that I can put it last minute. Sprint and door bash I have on because I like to make an entrance. And ledge hang mantle behavior, I have mantle only. So this is that I press the mantling button while hanging from a ledge will pull me back up. Sometimes I don't want to jump up into it. Again, all down to preference here. You can have it on movement base as well. So when you get to that edge or you're on a ledge or anything, it will pull you straight up. ADS stick swap. So they were in combat behaviors now, guys. ADS stick swap I have off. This is one I was talking about earlier as well. Backpack alternating control. Default mode is set to off, which makes you use your D-pads to navigate through the backpack. So when you're doing that, you have to come off your left stick, you use your D-pads and do all your interacting like that. Whereas if you turn this on, you can use your left thumbstick. It is the better option to do. It means you can carry on moving through the map as well, and you can just you don't have to take that finger off that left stick. I advise heavily on turning this one on. It will change your gameplay. Weapon movement on exit, again I use this as on. Weapon mount exit delay is short. Completed ammo weapon switch I have on. If you have this off, you have to change weapon manually, whereas if your gun runs out, it automatically changes for you. C4 detonation I leave off. Vehicle behaviors are standard, as are overlay behaviors standard. With that all being said, here are the key ones I feel you should use for your controller settings to get the best edge over your opponents. What's the best sensitivity for you so that you can maximize your movement? Make sure you have target aim assist on, your aim assist type is default, and your ADS aim assist is on. Nice work.
You know your controller and what your input dead zones are.
Make sure that you have your inverted slide and dive behavior to inverted so that you always dive first. That will get you out of so many tricky situations. Have the backpack alternate control set to on so that you can use your left stick to control it.